I am so excited to serve you guys tonight. We have an incredible night stored up for you. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you guys about is as Adam and I have been talking with coaches this last week, especially, we started noticing this unified trend. Like everybody is excited and anticipating what's to come, but they're also maybe feeling a little discouragement, maybe a little disappointment. Things have not always played out the way they thought it was going to play out. I think if you've ever spent any time with me, you'll hear me say nothing ever happened as fast as I would like it to. Whereas you guys might be looking back like, you know, in 9 years from now, I'd really love to have that problem. I'd really love to have your business, Gina. I'd really love to have that. But also looking at the fact that maybe, just maybe, you aren't willing to do the work that we did. Or maybe, just maybe, you didn't realize the workload. Am I the only one? So have any of you hit, I'm not sure how people are coming off mute. Hold on one second here. Good times. So if you accidentally come off mute, be really careful. You can always mute yourself if you need to. But anybody else find like, hey, I've been doing the do. I really thought it was going to come together a lot faster. I thought I was going to put this post out on social media and like 70,000 friends were going to instantly jump on board, and I put 2 posts out, and now all of a sudden I'm not sure if I made the right choice to become a health coach because like only 10 friends reached out. Yeah, I'm so glad. Like I remember the first time I posted my story, guys, remember like I became a coach and I still was not in a healthy BMI. I was so early in this journey. So to post anything, and that's why we love the sugar shot, but to post anything was super scary to me because although I had lost some weight, I felt like I had so much more to go. Has anybody else felt that way? Like, dang it, I have so far to go. I'm not where I want to be. I don't have it all together. I'm not perfect. P.S. Neither am I, and neither was I. But I remember pushing that button and being like, swallow hard. This is the scariest thing ever. And yet, look at the breakthrough that has happened for you because I hit enter. Forget me. Like, what about your coach? Because I would venture to say 97% of our business was built through social media. 97% of you are here because you saw a post on social media. So I know you're thinking, oh, we're doing a social media call. No, we're going to be talking about a little bit about discouragement, disappointment. So I'm gonna get to that. But I just wanted you guys to know, like, you guys get to make a difference in the world. And it starts with this. It starts with most people believe that success was easy. Most people believe that success didn't take much time. Most of you think I put this post out on social media and instantly had this amazing business. And a lot of you weren't around back then to know, hey, I had to post. Back in the day, there was no agents of transformation. There was no transformation stories. There was no client support page or coach support page. Like none of that existed. So it wasn't like I could say, hey, so-and-so, can I share your story? No, that wasn't in, I sound like I'm the like grandma walking uphill both ways in the snow. Well, I lived in Oregon at the time. It was in the rain all the time. But what I'm trying to say is like, you guys don't see the disappointment that we hit every time. You didn't see the persistence. You didn't see me get up at 5 a.m. so that I could do calls with Michelle Heyman on the East Coast, right? You didn't see the hard work, the huge risks, the late nights. So I'd get up at 5 and I would work until 10:30 at night, right? You didn't see the struggles, the competition, the side to side. If I could just tell you one thing, get out of the lane checking business. This is not about what another coach is doing or when they came on and when you came on and are you running faster or are you running slower? It ain't about them. Ain't a word and you ain't supposed to say it. It's about your lane, your path, your highway, your people who you're supposed to impact. So I need you guys to understand this. Like this is about being disciplined. This is about being brave and courageous. Look, I'm going to talk about this in a second here, but great leaders have great highs, but they have great lows. The conversations that happen in this head are a hot mess. The things you say to yourself, if it were actually written out, if someone else said that to you, they'd probably go to jail for abuse. Are you careful what goes on in your head? Are you willing to embrace your failures as the way that this is? If you're scared of failure, I hate to break it to you, but you're going to fail. The champions get up again. The champions go at it. I fail every day. I was in another company, and the leader of that company back in the day, she used to say, I have the bloodiest knees of them all. Right? Because she was knocked down so many times. Her knees were all muddy. I feel the same way. Every day, embrace those failures, embrace the adversity, embrace the rejection. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You'll hear me say this all the time. Give up the good for the great. Be willing to make those sacrifices. That's where success kicks in. See, people just see the iceberg at the top. They don't realize what it took to create that iceberg. So I love this quote. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Yep, everybody does. Hold on, I got someone off mute again. All right, I don't know how. That's just magic. All right, so I want to talk to you about managing disappointment. The first thing, discouragement. Discourage. That means you're removing courage. It's going to take courage when you fail to get back up again. It's going to take belief in yourself that you can do this when everybody else says you can't, when everybody else says that you're something that you're not. Okay, do you know 9 years later, people still tell me, well, you just appear as this. You guys are just this. What you do for a living is an anomaly. People can't succeed at what you do. And I'm like, really? Because I'm looking at thousands of you doing it. I'm just going to remove, I'm just going to say that's not an option. I'm not discouraged. I'm not removing courage. It takes courage to pull forth. Number two, it's the number one killer of dreams. Okay, I don't know one successful leader in any company, let alone Optavia. I don't know anyone that didn't fail, that didn't have a moment of disappointment, that didn't have a moment of discouragement. I don't know one. Most of us, it's daily. Okay, sometimes it's your own fault. We're going to talk a little bit about personal health, but sometimes it's like, look, I didn't choose to eat the bar when my alarm went off. I chose to have something I shouldn't. But it doesn't mean that I got to keep making that choice. Get back up, okay? Last time you fell down, you did it. You can do it again. If you did it once, you can do it again. Belief that things don't happen to you, but they happen for you. See, that's where that failing forward, learning that failure is not a destination, it's a journey, it's a process. Those things that happen to me, they happen because they put me in a place that I can then move forward. I'm going to use that failure to grow. So that belief that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. They help you to grow. Great leaders, like I said, have great highs and great lows. I don't know one that didn't. And the greatest antidote to discouragement is action, getting into action. Did you guys know that? Getting into action. So I want to talk to you just for a second about Newton's law. There's two different things. I think it's 1 and 3, Newton's law. Sometimes you've heard of it as inertia for Newton's law number 1 here, law of motion. An object will not change its motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Well, first of all, of course, remember I just said great leaders have great highs and great lows. So that might be an unbalanced force. But really what I'm talking about here is if you're finding yourself stuck, it's going to take massive action to move forward. The other thing is action and reaction. When you apply force to something, a reaction occurs. So like when you jump on a trampoline, you exert a downward force, which will automatically create an upward force, right? It will cause you to rise. So when we're talking about this and we're really thinking this through, if we're finding ourselves stuck, the one way that I know to get unstuck, to move through that disappointment, to move through discouragement is action, pushing the ball, jumping hard. My kids go to a trampoline park and I watch them do like the most amazing tricks. They have learned to walk on walls. They have learned to bounce on their back and jump all the way to the top of like a 10-foot wall. They can do the craziest things, but it's because the action to the process, right? It's not like, oh, I got on the trampoline. Why is it not happening? Why isn't it coming together? I put a post on social media. Why is it not happening? Something's wrong with me. No, it takes massive action to get that ball rolling. It takes massive action to take you where you want to be. And sometimes it's just that one little act of obedience, that one little act of motion that will drive you. So I want to talk to you about how do you change the energy in your business, or how do you get that ball in motion, right? So the first place is really talking about personal health, okay? In your personal health, have you let it slip up? Maybe you are on 5 and 1 and you got to about 10, 15 pounds of where you wanted to be, where your goal was. Maybe you got to your goal, but healthy BMI is 10 pounds from now. I would venture to say every business I've ever met, when a business is in fat burn, when a person is in fat burn, their business gets into fat burn. And there is this piece inside of us, I call it integrity. I don't know what else to call it, but there's this piece inside of us that if we're not being true to our word about our own self and our own health, if you're eating ice cream while calling clients, you won't call clients. You won't take action. You'll remain in one place. There's also, I can't think of what it's called, what scientific thing it is, but something that remains in one place for an extended period of time actually doesn't remain in one place. It actually spreads out to disorder. It creates disorder. And so, although a lot of people will say, well, I got to my goal weight, I'm like, that's awesome. However, are you doing something else to take yourself to a different level? It doesn't mean you need to be on 5 and 1. So I want to be really clear. Some of you do not need to be on 5 and 1, but many of you maybe have let things slip. Maybe there's some disorder in there and we need to get back on track. Guys, I'm on day 2. I had fun. I had a friend come visit and I chose to make some choices. That means I'm on day 2. When the alarm goes off, we might be talking and I might be eating. Okay? Those are choices, but I know that it's important that I keep my health on the forefront, because a business, a person in fat burn, or a person in integrity with themselves will hold and want to do more business. So I asked Cindy Rosen if she would come off and just share a tiny bit of her story. So I don't want to take away from that, but Cindy, are you out there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good to go.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for asking me to speak on this subject that I'm really passionate about. Real quick, and don't worry, I'm not going to take you too far back, but I wanted to just go back in my journey just a teeny bit. So 5 years ago, I was in a job that was 60 hours a week plus, very stressful, got super unhealthy, as you can see in my before picture. And my dad had a stroke 5 years ago. And so at the end of that, my teaching year, I decided to step away from teaching so that I could be more present with my family. Here I was, 70, 80 pounds overweight, 75 pounds overweight, and super unhealthy. So somebody posted, yay, thank you forever. I'm so grateful. I saw that. Got healthy, used my last teaching paycheck to buy my first box of food, had no idea what was in store. Fast forward, I lost 70 pounds in 6 months. And this was about 4.5 years ago. And so started coaching. This has been amazing. Love what I do. I have always believed in the program and knew it was, we believe in the program, but some pounds slipped up. And those of you who know me have watched me kind of slip up 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20, getting to 25. And I'm just like, and just like what Gina said, I just wasn't feeling authentic because here I'm posting that I'm, healthy, and I really wasn't where I should have been. So in July, I decided, I'm just doing the 5-in-1. I'm just going to do the 5-in-1 again, and I'm going to do it strictly. So some of my friends have said, well, how did you do it? And I said, well, just like I did the first time. I counted my salt, counted my Sunday packets. And I got down to actually 5 pounds less than I was before. And the thing that it's been amazing what has happened in our business, actually, because first, I don't know if it was probably because there was some pretty decent side-by-sides I was able to put together. But my personal confidence, I wasn't hiding anymore because I was starting to feel like I did a little bit before, kind of hiding behind in the pictures. But our business has exploded really since I've gotten my health under control. My confidence is great. I wanted to add a little thing, kind of go back to the beginning of 5 years ago when my dad had a stroke. If I can do this, you might have to meet me, Gina. So my dad is now in hospice care because his health is failing because of diabetes and stroke and heart issues. Totally preventable, by the way. Am I passionate about getting people healthy? Yes. But Tom and I both, because of coaching, because of Optavia, because of the choices I made 5.5 years ago, we are here with my dad. Wouldn't be able to do that if we had, 9 to 5 or worse jobs. But what a blessing. What a blessing. Yeah. That's all. I'll cry if I go on.
I know. Thank you so much for sharing. And guys, I asked Cindy to share because one, she's in the middle of life. I'm going to cry too, Cindy. You're welcome. She's in the middle of life. And in making a choice to choose health 5 years ago, it changed her choices today. But had she not back the summer made a choice to take her health back, repeat, rinse and repeat, had she not chosen to take it back, I don't know that Cindy wouldn't be up another 30, 40 pounds right now because of what she's walking through in her family. Yes, she would have the freedom financially. Her and her husband have quit their full-time jobs and they do Optavia exclusively. Yes, she would have been able to be there for her daddy. But for herself, she would not have been able to hold true to her. And because of that, her business has blown up. And that's what I want you guys to understand. When you take your health to the next level, whatever that is for you, it might be that you're just hopping on 5-in-1 because you need some daggone energy. It might be that you need to finally get the last 5 off. It might be that you were a silly nilly and you chose to have a Mai Tai when you probably shouldn't have had a Mai Tai. You should have had a Cascade ice drink, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Get your health in order, because there's something about when I feel amazing, when I am in integrity with what I do, and we're all health coaches. Okay, so when I'm in integrity with what I do, I hope you guys love me and don't hate me for calling you out on it. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I just see the direct correlation. It's like we cower back, we shrivel back, and we stop posting. We stop being authentic. We stop connecting with people. Okay, remember we talked about an object in motion stays in motion? But if you're cowering back, you're not creating that force for that massive action to happen, and discouragement will play and rear its ugly head inside of you. And so I'd rather call a spade and say, look, we have a tool. We all have a tool. But it doesn't do me any good to have a shovel in my garage if I don't pull it out and use it. And so I just want to encourage you guys, someone out there needed to hear that today. That was way more time than I anticipated spending on that. So I'm going to zoom through my other stuff, but I wanted to make sure that whoever you were out there that needed to hear that, that was for you. And it's okay. It's okay to go public on social media. Cindy went public on social media. It's okay to say, you know what? Hey, you know what? Just like everybody else, I made a few poor choices, but guess what? I'm so thankful I have a tool and a program that will walk me through it. Anybody else screw up every once in a while? Let's do this thing together. Be social about it. Get people in your amen corner. So here's another couple things I really wanted to cover real quick, is just do the work, right? The action is what will drive the next steps for you. It will drive the discouragement out. It will drive the disappointment out. Okay, so the first thing is social media. Are you actually utilizing social media? Now, some of you, again, are saying, why are we talking about social media? I can just watch a video. You're right, you can't. However, what we discovered is that as Adam and I are going through coach by coach, and we're looking at like, wow, this person told me they're stuck. And I look at their social media and I'm like, no wonder they're stuck. No wonder, because they're not maybe utilizing social media to its full potential. Also remember, at least 97% of y'all came from that. Very few actually saw someone in a playground, actually saw someone at the school, actually saw someone at church. Most people come to this program through social media. So understand, it becomes critical. If you want to increase real fast, comment A to Z. You've seen me talk about this on my cell phone before. Comment A to Z. Why are we commenting A to Z? You know, it's awesome if you want to utilize your stories, you want to utilize your Facebook page, and you want to start conversations with people. That's great. I'm not even here to talk about conversations, because I only start conversations with people that I want to pursue. Okay, so I'm not having conversations with everybody in my friends list, but one of the things that I discovered is if I'm commenting on 100% of my friends, it doesn't matter if they're looking at my stories. It doesn't matter if they're looking at my Facebook page. I'm drawing them in. I'm beating the algorithms, because the algorithms decide who sees my stories. The algorithms decide who sees my Facebook posts. But if I go A to Z. And why do we do A to Z? Because I can hit everybody. I won't leave anybody out, but I might start a conversation with the ones that I really want, the ones I really care about. So commenting A to Z hits everybody. Then I can be intentional with who I'm chasing, who's on my hundreds list, who's on my heart list. That's what we call it. Okay. Am I adding new friends? I know none of this is a surprise to you. Am I adding new friends? New friends is like putting new people in the chairs. I was talking to a coach earlier this week, and she's had 800 friends for the last year. And I said, do you think at some point the algorithms have shown all 800 people your posts? Have all 800 at some point had an opportunity to reach out to you? When we add new friends, we add new people to have the opportunity to reach out to us. So go be intentional about adding friends. And then of course, if you're not posting, I have a lot of coaches that use stories. I think stories are fantastic, by the way. This isn't a put down to stories, so please, please, please hear my heart. But if they're not posting any kind of before and after, any kind of health coaching related material, and if everything is ran through your stories, then guess what? When I go to your page because you're commenting, I don't know you're a health coach because stories didn't leave the remnants. So although we want to utilize stories because that's fun, and I think it's super fun because I can just put my life in there, it's also really important to make sure that the one of the last 5 stories is about you helping someone else, you making a difference for someone else. Notice I didn't say your own story, but someone else, because if they could have related with your own story, they already would have. They would have already reached out. So we want to make sure that we're showing that diversity, that we're showing that we care. And I have so much more, and I'm just out of time, and I'm just going to trust that this is what you guys needed to hear. But I want you guys to walk away with this. Do the work. Do the work. Okay, if you aren't where you want to be, it's not because it wasn't supposed to happen for you. It's not because you don't have the right people in your pipeline. At the end of the day, it might take you longer than someone that comes to us with a huge sphere of influence who has huge trust in that sphere. But the fact of the matter is, give me 9 years and you'll have my business if you'll do what I did. And what I did when I had hardly any clients, when I had no system in place, when I had all those things, is I worked. I worked when it wasn't pretty. I can say this, and it's being recorded, and it is what it is, but I have out-hustled pretty much everybody. That sounds like throw the gauntlet. Right? Like, I'm just saying. There were days I did 3-4 hours of commenting. There were days I was finding transformations. Thank goodness we don't have to do that anymore. Thank goodness you guys have access to that through your coach support pages. But I was building something. I knew what I was building. If you have ever built a fence, if you have ever built a house, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't just build a house and throw materials in a field and go, wow, I'm gonna live there. No, you have to get permits. You have to draw up plans. You have to do so much before you even dig a hole. And then you got to dig a hole, and everybody's going, ooh, that looks like a real pretty house, Gina. That's gorgeous. And then has anybody ever like poured fittings? And you're like, I don't think they did that right. That doesn't look like I'm not sure. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, walls go up. And you're like, whoa, I got a house. And then 12 months later, they finally finished said inside of the house that you were just so excited about. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, it takes time, it takes intentionality, and it takes a whole lot of work. But I'm here to tell you, all of you put your dreams at the top of this call. All of you did. And I'm here to tell you 100% of those dreams will come true. 100%. If you will out hustle them all. When you are feeling down, that is your sign to get into more action. Now, I'm not telling you you need to spend 10 hours commenting and posting and adding friends. But what I am here to tell you is, if it takes 10 hours to get that very thing that you wanted at the top of this call, is it worth it? Because if it is, you aren't keeping track of the time. You aren't keeping track of the sacrifice. You're saying, daggone it, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to push through when I don't feel like pushing through. One of my tips on there was to stay connected to your mentorship. When you feel down, you never go side to side, and you definitely don't go down. Don't talk to your coaches. Don't talk to your mama. Don't talk to your sister or your bestie who's not even in Optavia. You reach up and you say, look, I'm ready to beat my head against the wall. You got any tips? Can you help me? Because they've been there. And sometimes it's just getting it out your mouth. Anybody have a client? I had a client one time send me a 911. 911 emergency. I'm about to dive into a plate of chili cheese fries. Sometimes as coaches, we need that. And maybe your chili cheese fries isn't actually something to do with your health, but maybe it's something to do with your wealth, or maybe it's something to do with your time freedom. But I want to challenge you guys. Are you health builders? Are you wealth builders? And are you time freedom builders? Because if you're about that, we're going to change the world together. Just don't give up. Keep hustling. I love you guys. We'll talk to you guys next week.